Hey guys, how's it going? Owners here. Welcome to the 14th round of the F1 2014 Let's Play on the channel here. It's time for the Grand Prix in Singapore around this Marina Bay circuit, and it's pouring down with rain at the moment. In its first practice session then, as we get strapped into our Force India. So after Monza then, the ship lands here in Singapore. And a track which I do not like. I really do not like this track, but we do have an R&D objective, by the way, for this session, so we're gonna do that. But yeah, coming back to that, I really do not like this track. It has been a track which never really suited me. Yes, look at this, by the way. I went out on track, and this is what happened. I usually go out and do the outlap myself, but because it's an R&D objective and it's in the rain, I decided to do this quick thing where it skips you to your flying lap, and then all of a sudden the car just didn't want to turn. Usually the AI takes control over the car there, but for some reason it didn't do that there, so I almost hit the wall. The R&D objective contains 3 laps where you have to be, you are allowed to press, in my case, 20.7% of the lap on the brakes. So that means as well that I need to stay 79% of the lap after brakes, and it was pretty easy. As you can see here, I did 86.8% of the brakes during that lap, so no problems there at all. Excuse me. And currently we are actually not doing too bad either in terms of lap time. Currently in the first position with 157.7 ahead of Sutil, but there's not a lot of rain expected for this weekend. I think there's a little bit of rain expected, predicted in qualifying, but I think it's pretty much it. I could be wrong, we'll see obviously, and in this video, as always, I'll feature practice and qualifying. So this is a little bit of an onboard lap then from this practice session in the rain, and still doing that R&D objective then. Skipping towards the end of that lap, and this is another lap which went really well in terms of R&D objective. As you can see there, 87.4%. And the R&D objective is finished, which was actually quite easy. I kept on going after that, just to get some laps and get a feel for it and everything, because it was quite a long time since I last played this game. So I went out again, get a little bit of a feel for it as I jump all the way over those curbs. It's hard to see whether I cut it or not. We'll pretend that I didn't cut it, and if I did cut it, I don't think there's a lot of time you can gain there anyways. And that's pretty much it for this practice session then. So because it was raining, and towards the end of the session I think it even started to rain harder, I didn't find it useful to go out again, so I think it was P5 and our teammate somewhere around the 10th spot, I believe. But in qualifying it's a little bit of a different story. As you can see here, the clouds are dark because it's night, but at the same time it's dry instead of rainy. So having a look at the setup, this is what I did after practice. So quite a high downforce setup here around this track. It's obviously a street circuit, so yeah, that's probably the explanation for that one, obviously. Still having a look at it, taking 5 laps of fuel with me here. This is the first time I'm going to do a run in the dry, so it's obviously still Q1, but taking enough fuel with me so that I can do a few laps, get into the flow really. So we saw Kobayashi up front. There's a Lotus by me now, probably Maldonado, but he's not on the lap. So Caterham up front, good distance between him and me. So this is the first lap we're going to set in the dry, and it's obviously in Q1 as well. So here we go, we have 2 DRS zones around this track. This is the first one, down the main straight, start finish straight, and heading down into turn 1, brake about 60 meters, and have a very swinging line through there. Get on the power. Very hard to get on the power here in this street circuit. It's very easy to get some wheel spin. So we swing it into this corner, hitting the barrier there. If it was a real F1, I probably would have damaged the suspension, but it's not that realistic. Second DRS zone right here, brake just after the 1 on me, but down to second gear to get the front end to turn in. On the exit you go straight up to third gear again to get the best traction as possible. Down into this right-hander here. This is where the more complex section starts. Too far off the apex there. Not really getting the turn in I want so far on this car. Maybe it will come though with some tire temperature and grip, who knows. Close it down on this Caterham as well. Close it down a little bit too much. Pay attention to the gap I left to him. when I started the lap, and look how much I've caught already. So big difference there. Obviously it's a caterer, with all my with all the respect, but it's a caterer, and they are just not as quick as the Force India here. Regular one on me board, then yet again to second gear, clip the curb, and then I was too far to the outside under the traction zone, under the exit, and I hit the barrier. Coming through here, probably cutting that curb a little bit, but it doesn't really matter that much because the caterer up front is definitely holding us up here. So this is not going to be the lap, but I could have chosen to go and leave another gap, but I think I would have caught up to him again. So just gonna try to see if I can overtake him down the main straight and down into turn 1. We'll see. Oh, that was a massive cut. That was surely a cut. Luckily this lap doesn't count, obviously. Well, it does count, but we got held up massively, so I don't think it will be the fast lap of this session. Indeed, down the inside of turn 1 from the caterer, so we managed to take that position, and now we need to fly. We've set the 46.7, got used to the track, and well, it's time to push then. Let's see how I take this corner, a bit too far off the apex, get on the throttle. Did I hit the wall that time? No, I did not hit the wall that time. Then the air is wide open for the run towards the next corner, which is a very tricky left-hander, but you do want to hit the curb. So down to second gear, hit the curb, there we go. Up to third for the exit then, and then brake. Well, I don't use the 50 meter board as the brake marker. There's this little, well, how would you call it? The electrical flag system, I'm gonna give it that name. I use that as a brake marker. You'll see it next lap if you haven't seen it already. There's our teammate there letting us through. And then this section here, very easy to cut. Do not do that though, over the bridge, and then again slow it down as we see a Mercedes there. That's Hamilton right on the apex of the corner there. That definitely cost us a little bit of time. Nonetheless, we still got all the power and keep on pushing. As I said, I got quite a bit of fuel on board, so no problems there. 6/10 down on the previous lap time. This time again not hitting that wall there, so I'm starting to learn the track a little bit more, of course, in this second lap here. So 6/10 down though. See there a little bit of a step with the wheel. Otherwise I would have cut that corner, and that's where I decide to back out of it. This is not going to be the lap either. I still have plenty of fuel left, so let's give it another shot. So I'm way out of shape there, crossing the start finish line. Still in P1 though. That's quite a bit of a surprise, to be honest. And once again coming through these first couple of turns, that looked quite sweet. And then we head down into turn, what is it, 4 probably? 5 perhaps. On the throttle again, very hard on the throttle actually. Yet again, on this straight. Right, just up the 100 meter board. There we go, so about 80 meters I think, as I run a little bit too deep into that corner. All over the exit curve, 2000s down, or sorry, up rather, on our previous lap time. But I missed the previous corners up a little bit. Yet again, not really hitting the apex there. Seems like I'm struggling with front end grip, especially on the turn-in of corners. Let's see how I do here. Yeah, you want to be all over that curb there, but I'm not managing to do that at the moment. Very close to hitting the barrier there. Last time round, here was the Mercedes. This time it's all clear, clean air in front of us, so that's good. Get hard on the power yet again for this little straight. Up into mix 3. Brake after the 100 meter board yet again. A 10th down, so we must have had a really good middle sector. And again hitting the barrier there. Cannot really go through that corner with the right speed. And again here, almost turning too early, almost cutting the corner. I don't think I did it though. A little bit out of shape on the exit there, but that's what you can expect. Getting hard on the power, and again making a mistake where you go underneath the grandstand. As I let the Mercedes through there, cannot rejoin the track while he is coming up. So another mistake, a very unfortunate mistake. And actually I didn't go out anymore. I thought, well, that's it. And so that lap, which well, would have probably be an illegal lap, was actually, well, turned out to be our fastest lap. But yeah, I don't think you guys bother too much. At least I did not. I could have improved easily. I didn't do that. I think that lap was illegal, but we'll let it go this time if you guys don't mind it. So again then we see Bottas there on the apex of the corner as I pick up a little bit of slipstream from Fiat there, as I was a little bit surprised by the move he made, almost turned in on me. We are behind his teammate here on our flying lap, behind his Toro Rosso, but as you can see it started to spit with a little bit of rain, and I noticed this during the beginning of qualifying. So what I did is I went out straight away, tried to put in a lap as quick as possible, so do a very quick out lap, then, you know, put in your lap, because during the session, throughout the session, it's only going to get wetter and wetter. So, you know, now it's a little bit dry, but, you know, let's try to put in a good lap then. Over here, even though it's really slippery. It's only spitting with rain, but as you can see, it's super slippery at this moment. And the AI definitely having an advantage here, I would say, with the traction control. Look how much I'm struggling for exit grip. Look how much that Toro Rosso has pulled away from me in the process. And then again, braking down, slowing it down, not hitting the wall there that time, luckily. As we come through this final sector, it is going to be tricky, because these are pretty much wet conditions at the moment. It's about dry intermediate condition, I would say. And then you come here underneath the grandstand, this time making no mistake there. Last time I just braked too late, and I could have tried to go into that corner, but you know, the risk is that you end up hitting the barrier and losing your front wing, and that's not what I really wanted. So coming through the final two corners here, all over the curb there, jumping over the curb more or less, opening up the DRS for the little run to the line. 155.2, 1.7 ahead of Jean-Eric Vergne. Remember, he was our old teammate. And then on the next lap, I tried to turn into this corner. As you can see, there was just no turn in, no grip, as we do a half spin there to get back on the track. And it just got too wet from here onwards. So Alonso did a 54.7. We are currently in P3, so it's a little bit of a waiting game now. But luckily the track actually got wetter. In this case it's only in our advantage, because remember, I set a lap time pretty early on in the session when the conditions were still dry. So that means we are in Q3 with 155.2, and Button is out, and well, even more a surprise I would say, Hulkenberg and Ricciardo, Massa, Bottas, they are all out. So they got caught out in that session. And then here it is wet enough to go onto the medium tire. Not wet enough to go to the full wet. There's also no spray on the screen or anything like that. It's just intermediate condition. And in this session as well, I went out quite early, because I expected it to only get wetter and wetter throughout the session yet again. So I went out quite early. Obviously the DRS has been disabled right now. And so this is going to be a very crucial lap, I would say. This lap needs to be good straight away, because well, as I said, I do expect it to get wetter and wetter throughout the session. So, especially on a track like this, where you have a lot of traction zones out of slow corners, the AI will have a big benefit compared to us. If you don't know it yet, the AI runs traction control. And I have all the assists disabled. Even when you are on legendary mode, stuff like that, you know, I have all assists disabled. The AI difficulty is set to the highest setting. They still have traction control. And this is something which is very annoying. And you can't do anything about that, really. You really cannot. I'm just struggling the whole time for exit speed. As you can see here now, there's some raindrops starting to form on the screen, meaning that the track is getting wetter and wetter. I'm just sliding through that corner. Let's see how I hit this curb. That's the way you want to hit it. A little bit more even. Obviously do not cut the corner at the same time. Then through this hairpin, which is a very tight one. Hitting it nicely, but then the exit again. Look at this. Struggling for power quite a bit. Well, I know that in my mirrors I see this car behind me and he will have much better traction. So it's very frustrating as I go a little bit deep into this corner. Managed to avoid the barrier though. But not the best lap ever. That's for sure. Let's see how the final sector goes. Slowing it down. That was quite good. Hitting the curb, unsettled the car a little bit. You saw me there going a little bit sideways as well. Sideways on the exit. Way out of shape. And yet again, you come underneath the grandstand there. Very close to hitting the wall. Yet again over this curb. Then up to third gear. Bit of wheel spin on the exit. Down to second. Yet again this chicane right, left. Go over this curb. And then run it out wide. Almost hitting the barrier there. And going very sideways indeed. Final two corners. Down to fourth gear. Up to fifth gear. And then cross the line with a 158.956. And Alonso has done a 156.7. And that's where I thought, well, I cannot improve anymore. It started to get more wet as well towards the end. Vettel will be on pole position. Suto was in this session. Grosjean was in this session. Vergne as well. That's all thanks to Q2, which was a little bit hectic. But that's pretty much it. So starting from 8th, my objective was 7th. But it's something, and in this rain I think I maximized even still being 8th rather than 10th. So I think that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have enjoyed it, I would appreciate a like. The race is coming tomorrow as always.